So let's say you want to sell final expense, but you're broke. You don't have the money to invest in leads. What I'm going to do in this video is give you 4 ways to sell final expense even if you're broke. So stick around. Hey everybody, David Duford here, owner of Duford Insurance Group, where I train and recruit agents nationally to sell things like final expense and Medicare, both face-to-face and over the phone. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. All right, so let's talk about how to sell final expenses. You're broke. You don't have any money to invest in leads. So a couple of things to get started here, just some things to think about. There are ways and strategies for sure that you can sell final expense successfully, but ultimately my goal for you would be to get to the point where you can buy into a fresh and exclusive lead program. Ultimately, what you should be considering as an agent new to this business is duplicating success, right? You don't want to have to figure this stuff out on your own. And if you look at all the top players in this business, virtually all of them are buying leads and they're running appointments either face-to-face or over the phone. So the point is that you don't want to be or try to be an outlier here where the odds of success are obviously lower. You want to try to duplicate what works, including the lead systems too. And in this case, what you need to be thinking towards is how can I get from working free leads or a free strategy to generate prospects to getting onto the typical lead systems that work on a paid basis like direct mail or Facebook. So keep that in mind. One other thing I'll mention here, this is kind of a new development that we've had access to. For agents considering joining my agency, I am an affiliate for a company called FundWise. It's essentially a broker, if you will, that will shop around to see which funding organizations will provide you lines of credit to fund your business operations. So if you wanted to sell final expense, but you just are frustrated because you don't have the money, you may want to check this out. This isn't for everybody. It's something you've got to decide for yourself. But there may be a way to get you a line of credit to fund yourself into some sort of paid leads. If you're interested in doing this, I'll include a link below to the FAQ page or the landing page for FundWise associated with me that will tell you more. Now, with that said, let's jump right in. So the first suggestion is selling friends and family. Now, you can't actually sell final expense to your friends and family, and it's likely there's somebody who is a bit older, someone 50 and older, that's going to need a final expense plan that frankly just never bothered to get it. There's a lot more world-class procrastinators around than we'd like to imagine, including probably some of your family members. For example, when I first started, my mother needed life insurance. She would never have bought from anybody. She's just kind of like that. And we eventually convinced her to buy a final expense plan because she didn't have anything. She didn't have any money. She didn't have any savings. And she needed enough to pay for her funeral expenses. And it provided me a nice little commission that, had I been in a position that I needed to buy leads, would be a good payoff to invest into my leads. So think of your mom, your dad, your friends, your family, your cousins, maybe former business associates. And you don't even have to sell final expense. Maybe you can talk to them about selling a term plan or a whole life plan. Most people need more insurance. They just never bother to getting around to it. And this is a great way to, again, create the capital, the bankroll we want for you to ultimately do what we talked about earlier, which is buying into your own leads. So talk to your friends and family. Don't pressure them. Don't guilt them. You know, we want them to still talk to you and answer phone calls when you call. But just, be relaxed about it. Tell them you're starting a new business. You want to show them what you're doing. Be real low key about it. If they're interested, they're going to show interest in it and want to help you out and help themselves out too. Second option to do are seminar-based strategies to develop free leads. This is one of our favorite strategies to do. It's very simple. For example, we teach our final expense agents to go into senior HUD facilities, talk to activity directors, and then speak to 10 to 15 people about the benefits of final expense insurance and funeral planning, and then take a portion of those into a presentation and close a smaller portion of them. We really like this because there's very little cost, just the cost to bring in some snacks and a gift card to raffle off. And the quality of the lead is very high. Somebody who comes to an event already assumes that you're the authority, so there's less selling that you've got to do. And it's just fun to mix up from a paid strategy. And it's a lot better, I think, in some sense for some people than actually cold calling on people, because that's very stressful for some. So this is something I absolutely highly endorse. It's something that works very well, and would definitely ask you to consider if you're looking for free ways to generate leads. Number 3 tip here is targeted cold canvassing. So let me talk about targeted cold canvassing and selling final expense. I think if I were selling final expense and I didn't have access to paid leads or the money to pay for leads, then I would find senior facilities or senior living centers, or apartment or duplex complexes, and I would go door to door, knocking on doors, asking for them to see if they're interested in reviewing some of these final expense plans we have access to. This is a much more targeted approach than, say, you going down the street knocking on random doors, although that's not bad either. At least with the targeted approach, you kind of have an idea of who you're going to talk to. And the easiest way to find a targeted approach, of course, is just to go to these senior centers, because we know they're full of seniors that are retired on a fixed income and are going to be more likely to talk to you. And number 4 strategy to develop final expense leads if you're broke is to do cold phone prospecting. That simply is getting a list. So you have to spend a little money on a list, maybe $50 to $75. I would invest into, say, a 65 and older list. Go ahead and call those people up. Simply say, hey, my name is David DeFord, following up on those cards that you received about state-regulated final expense programs. My job is to call people who didn't send those back and see if you had 5 or 10 minutes for me to show you how those work. Can I stop by at 10 or 2? The reason I like that script is because everybody gets these cards, the direct mail cards we send off, so it's no surprise to them when we call, and it just gets a conversation started. Again, you're going to have to do a lot of phone calls. You're going to have to do a lot of talking. But if you do enough activity on the phone, you're going to find people are interested. I did it at one point in my career for just a little bit, a couple of weeks, and I made a couple of sales off of it and was kind of surprised. So give it a shot, especially if you have no other way to make money, and you'll be surprised at what you discover. So to wrap it up here, let me go over these 4 major strategies to develop final expense business if you're broke. First one is talk to friends and family, see who needs not just final expense, but any kind of life insurance. Do targeted seminars to seniors, like in living facilities, to express yourself as the authority and to develop high-intent leads. Number 3, targeted cold canvassing in senior communities is always great. And last but not least is cold phone prospecting if no other ways works and you just want to do a lot of activity. Hope you enjoyed this training on how to develop final expense business if you don't have a lot of money. And I can't help but to encourage you guys to also look at my FundWise affiliation. Again, I'm an affiliate for the program. It's a great way to consider how to find seed capital to invest in this business opportunity, at least in the form of leads. Go to the page again below. It'll take you to my website where you can click on the link to discover more. And if you like this kind of content, please subscribe. Also, like it if you do, and leave a comment below if you'd like to ask me any questions. Happy to answer them as always. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.